Hello and welcome to Apple Tree Cottage here in the Scottish borders. Today is Tuesday, August the 12th, 2025, and this is episode number 35. And it's lovely to see you, and I hope that you've been having an excellent time since my last episode, creating, being inspired, and stitching, knitting. I had a comment this past week. One of my viewers has been inspired to start thinking about knitting something for the coming winter months here in the Northern Hemisphere, and that's just so gratifying to know that there is encouragement and inspiration going on in the YouTube world. And of course we won't forget our friends in the Southern Hemisphere, and perhaps they will be looking at cotton yarn for warmer, lighter knits for their coming season. So what have I been doing this week? Well, it's been quite a deal of knitting that has been going on, and and a couple of unexpected finds that I picked up again and have restarted, which I think also is a very, very good idea. Just perhaps to come across things that aren't finished and get round to finishing them, and then there's that sense of accomplishment, and we can actually be using the things that we've been making or giving them in present, something like that. So I had been looking through Danish cutwork embroidery. I think it's, as some pronunciations are Hedebo and some are Hebo, so take your pick over that. I have a lovely Japanese book, and I have to say that there's quite a few books that I cover this week, review and recommend. So this book is Danish Small Whitework, is the title that's given. It's in Japanese. I don't read Japanese, but it has lovely pictures, and this is where, and there are instructions that I'm sure I'm going to be able to follow. This is the type of embroidery that is still waiting for me. I really want to get round to starting this. I just love the examples, especially the older work. But it's nice sometimes just to pick up books and be browsing through them in a more relaxed moment. And this is where I came across a picture of a basket cover, and you can see it there. I love the simplicity of that, and here we are with what could well be a knitting basket, certainly a wicker basket. I just love the simplicity of that. This is what often attracts us to the Japanese way of doing things. It's simple statements, stunning statements. So I have my knitting basket, and I'll be bringing it on in a minute to show you. But I thought, I really want to do this now. I'm knitting my jumper for the coming winter months, and I'd love to have a beautiful cover for my wicker basket. But lo and behold, what actually happened was this. I was looking through my drawer for linen, and I came across something that I had already started, and it's starring in my previous episode about where I store my my materials, and it's that in a beautiful chest of drawers that sits in my hallway. And I think if you've seen that episode, you'll certainly remember that I go down through the drawers. I come to the bottom drawer of 5 and come to my linen drawer, and filled with little pieces of linen, and then quite unexpectedly come across a piece of Frisian Whitework in a book about Frisian Whitework, and this is actually what I have picked up again because I had already started it. So rather than starting on something else, the Danish, I actually went to the Frisian, and I have a sense of achievement about that, and can pat myself on the back because I didn't just start something else and not have finished something that I'd already done quite a lot of work on. The book that attracted me to Frisian Whitework is by a lovely lady from Australia called Yvette Stanton. She has produced an amazing series of books on various types of embroidery, and I can highly recommend her books in that they're for left hand as well as right hand embroiderers. I'm not sure if her earlier books did that, but certainly this one has. So I'll stick to this because I don't want to mislead people. She's a twin, and as you probably know, I was or am an identical twin. My identical twin sister passed away 4 years ago, is that right? Something like that. And we were what was called mirror twins, and I think possibly Yvette Stanton may well be a mirror twin. I'm right-handed and my twin sister was left-handed, and Yvette evidently is left-handed. So she has already overcome the what was perceived as a handicap in earlier generations of being left-handed, and she's done it absolutely superbly. And as I say, the book is laid out not only for the instructions for right-hand embroiderers, but also left-handed. The left-handed one she has in red ink, and the right-handed in blue. So I highly commend her for that. And the books are absolutely gorgeous. She goes into the history at the beginning. Here are some examples of older work. The Frisian Whitework, she also looks at the location. Where are we here? This is the historical examples. In Friesland, I think it's called, rather than Frisian land. And anyway, which I think must be Dutch rather than Danish. Let me just check on that. And she has a variety of absolutely gorgeous samplers. Here we are. Yes, here we are. These are the pictures I'm looking for. In Holland, or part of Holland, and we have the canals there. It's a stunning country. So what can I say? Our Frisian Whitework has many visual similarities to the more well-known Hardanger embroidery. They developed around the same time, from the early 1600s for Frisian and the 1700s for Hardanger. And the work also has similarities to another form of Dutch whitework, the embroidery style from Marken, which is known as marker embroidery. And that's something I'm going to have to follow up for myself because I haven't heard of that before. So you have a sense of location and also of history at the beginning, and then of course you have absolutely wonderful examples, the historical, and then you have her projects if you wish to actually make something from her projects. This is what's on the cover as well, and this is what jumped out at me originally and drew me to Frisian embroidery. And at the back you have the charts, and there are many of them, and this is what I derived my little section from. Now, just learning, it is counted, and then you can also have cut work in it. and I decided to use linen rather than cotton. And I think this must be 32 count, it looks like 32 count, for my basket cover. And I have now finished, I'd got one of these done and the cut work there. And this past week I finished, and I'd also done the cross stitch line. And this past week I've done this, and then I've started on the other side, which I think will probably just match. That was one decision. Would I make the other side different? But, you know, I quite like the idea of a uniform design where you are literally, again, doing a mirror design on that and having exactly the same on the other side. It's not without mistakes, and that's a point I want to make at the moment, that most of these things, I was fortunate. I went to the sort of school where we had crafts and we had sewing and knitting right from a very early age. Not so much my mother at home, because she was pretty much taken up with my sister and helping, because my sister was disabled. I then went into a more academic type of schooling, which was often the case in my generation in Britain. I was taught crochet. I did a little bit at school, but then I really got into crochet when I was about 17 years old, where the daughter of a friend I was staying with in North London sat down one Sunday afternoon in the garden with me and taught me the nuns crochet, which I absolutely love. It's also sometimes called Irish crochet. I love that, I really do. It's very fine work. But beyond that, it really, I've been more or less freewheeling with all of my learning and trying out new things. Apart from weaving, I was taught weaving by a lovely Danish lady, and I did go on and do weaving for quite a while. But these types of cut work, Danish, etc., have been through books I've been learning, and I'm coming to them quite late. And so my point is, and also with lace knitting, I've taught myself. Now the point is that at the beginning I'm not very good, and I certainly make mistakes, and one of these blocks is full of mistakes. Same with lace knitting. To begin with, my lace knitting, my first shawl, which my daughter prizes, I'm embarrassed about, because from my point of view, it was a mess. You know, it was just so full of mistakes. But I kept going, and I'm keeping going with this. And this is my point, that somehow with these amazing books, and this is no reflection on the books, and there are many, many instruction books, their examples are perfect. Of course they are. These ladies have been doing it for years. And so they have these amazing, perfect projects, and we stumble trying to be perfect. Well, that's not my way of doing it. Do what you can, make mistakes, keep going. Sometimes if they irritate you, certainly take them out, particularly in samplers, and have another go. But I think it's one of the reasons that so many projects get put in a cupboard and forgotten, because they weren't perfect, stumbled over mistakes, and felt diminished in some way, and just put it to the side, felt just cold feet basically. In my particular training, which is not handwork, it's nothing to do with needlework, the whole training takes years. It is beyond rocket science. It is. It's the most difficult thing you can learn, actually, and certainly very difficult to teach. And we can't be perfect at the beginning. So through my years of teaching, it's always been stumbling over mistakes and getting better, and just being incredibly patient with my pupils until such times as they could accomplish something, that was maybe not near perfection, but certainly without mistakes and enjoyable. So I would say to a great many people who watch here, who are partly starting on things, don't be afraid of mistakes, and keep going. So I'm keeping going with this. Am I going to cut it out and start again? No. Has it mistakes? Yes, it definitely has mistakes. But, the fact of the matter is I will get it finished, and it'll be something that I will enjoy and will certainly use. I do have another form of embroidery that at my advanced stage I have never tackled. And I'm sure a great many of you are laughing, because it's something that a great many people do actually start very much younger and then go on to other things. But my life never took me to hardanger embroidery until now. And here is another rather earlier book by Yvette Stanton, Elegant Hardanger Embroidery, and this came in the post just a couple of days ago, and certainly looking through it, it does seem to be an excellent book for the beginner, which I will be, a step-by-step manual for beginners to advanced. It has, again, very, very clear instructions, and I'm certainly looking forward. I love that. I think that's beautiful. I'm certainly looking forward to having a go at hardanger. I don't know when I'll be starting that. This is a Norwegian rather than Dutch or Danish form of embroidery. And I'm just aware of the fact that I do need an excellent pair of scissors for cutting because it is cut work. So, Elegant Hardanger Embroidery, Yvette Stanton. Now, another thing, which yes, let's go with this next. Which order? A completion. I have been, as you know, knitting my lace white bed socks for the coming winter months, and just a little now and again, and here we have a completion. And again, that would be another point. We don't have to begin with something and just work with that all the way through. If we can intersperse, or if I can intersperse things with, say, housework or with stitching, then or gardening, then I'm going to be much happier, and probably again gain a completion, which is what we really want to be doing. And so these bed socks, if you've been following me, you'll know all about them. I use this book. It's Around the World in Knitted Socks by Stephanie van der Linden, 26 inspired designs. And I think this is about my third or fourth of the lace bed socks in this book. This is a gorgeous book. Excellent directions, very good explanations for the heel, and it is one of the two books that I use. The other book is Knitting Around Norway, and that is by Nina Grandlund Sæther. And you find her, I think every day she comes up on my Instagram feed, and that's my other go-to for sock designer. Here we are with the Brussels lace pattern. I just love this pattern, and I love wearing the socks. I have used this time a 4-ply signature by West Yorkshire Spinners, and I can highly recommend this yarn. I really can. It's soft, but it's strong, and they're a very, very, very good company. So I completed this, and as I complete something, I pick another thing up and keep going. And with this completion, I then picked up something that again was something I'd started and forgotten all about. I'm knitting my walnut wings pullover for the winter, and one of the things the good things about long hair is it keeps your neck warm. I sometimes wear, but rarely wear my hair up, and even then my neck gets chilly in the winter, and so I wanted to knit a lace, Shetland lace neckerchief, or just a little short scarf that I can tuck in round my neck and keep the neckline of the jumper pretty close, but not right up to my chin. And I also like the contrast of a chunkier weight with the lace weight round. I think that's really very, very feminine, very pretty. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go to Shetland. As you know, I love Shetland, and I thought, right, which is my Shetland basket? These wonderful baskets I have. And here's my Shetland basket, and lo and behold, it's already something I had started, and for some reason I'd forgotten about it. So that was a lovely bonus. And if you look back over the episodes, I have actually, this starred quite a few episodes ago, and that was the sample that I made of it to begin with. And this goes back to last November 2024. My elder daughter knows I just love lace knitting, and in fact I have last year knitted her a lace shawl which she prizes, and for my birthday last November she gave me Shetland Fine Lace Knitting by Carol Christiansen. And of all the Shetland lace books, and I do have a great many, this has to be the go-to book. It's completely wonderful, and it's from, it originates in the Shetlands where it should originate. Look at that wonderful, wonderful photograph. Absolutely amazing. Beautiful, beautiful work. They are just gorgeous. So I chose, the pattern I chose was 3-3. Now, the great thing about this book is that she produces the examples from originals, so they're all traditional. And you get a fantastically clear photograph of a sample, and you get the written instructions, and you've also the chart. So this I highly recommend. I particularly like to follow written directions. That's how I was brought up with knitting, but I can follow charts. And again, she goes into the history, and there are many, many, many examples of ones that you can work, and photographs of actual examples of shawls and stoles. I have gone for 3.3, the lace hole, plain and bead diamonds with branch, and I'm also using an edging. And what's the edging? I cannot remember where so I'll have to tell you about that another time. I can't remember the edging, where I got the edging. I think I got it from the Miller book, but I'll tell you that another time. Anyway, here we are. I'm so excited because it already definitely has been started. As people know, I like to write the the pattern out loud and clear on a piece of card, so that it's easy to see rather than peering over a book, or indeed carrying a heavy book into the garden. This is the peaked shawl edging that I've written out here. And I think I actually am following the book itself, I have to say. I'm using this, which is rather nice, and I am using the Shetland Heritage weight, which I have from Jameson and Smith in Shetland, so we're getting directly from Shetland. This is the peaked edging, and I have to stop my needles because I don't want it slipping off. Done quite a deal of that, and I'm using 3.25 needles for this, and these are Zing. I do happen to like the Zing metal for the lace. I find that's great rather than wooden. And here we are, and I have, I think, 2 sections done of the center. No, I haven't done 2, I've done 1, and then I've started again, and I'm working. I have 6 rows done of the next section. I'm going to do 7 sections in all, stretch it all out and block it, and then I will actually graft in the edging, and that will be really, really pretty for keeping my neck cozy. So there we are. That was an added bonus. I'm already well on the way to producing that. I'm going to intersperse my knitting with just one sampler that I'm stitching. Again, if you've been following me, you'll know that I have now really just focused on Blackbird Designs. Merrily, merrily, we welcome the spring, which is of course completely out of season at the moment for me. And I have this past week, I've been working on this rather large blue alphabet and getting along. I'm now at, I finished letter R, and it is being cross-stitched on blue corn by Classic Colourworks, and I have to say this is such a gorgeous, gorgeous colour that I think I may well go on and choose you know, a thread a day, alphabet sampler in blue, which I do like doing. I haven't got one going at the minute, and choose the blue corn. That would be rather nice, but I'm being disciplined, and one of the comments I received was, no, do please keep going with merrily, and so I am, you'll be pleased to know, and I'll get there. I will get there. Here we are. Merrily, merrily, we welcome the spring by Blackbird Designs. And I'm not going to put in the house or the bird. I'm going to keep to the original, which Blackbird Designs picked up, and just space out the motifs and have a go with that. And the fabric that I'm using is 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus, and the there is a mix of threads, Classic Colourworks, Gentle Arts and Weeks dye works, and I've also added from time to time some stronger colour in DMC, and I haven't taken a note of that, so, and that's really because my dye lot is a very strong, there's a very, very strong, rather reddish tone to this, and I wanted to combat that with slightly stronger colours. So that's my contribution to cross stitch this past week, and then I will just finish up with the walnut wings that I have been knitting for the winter, and this is the book that I have been using for the design. This is the Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible, and this is another book that's beautifully presented. I think the standard of books these days is just absolutely stunning, and we have photographs that are beautifully, beautifully stitched examples of this lady's charts. And this is the chart that was opened here, hasn't it? That's the chart that I've picked. It's number 166, 166. This is the chart here. She doesn't use written instructions, and so I have written them. I've got my own colour code, and I just write them out in little colour squares that translate them, so that it's easy to see. Again, on card, I can take this out into the garden or wherever and be knitting pretty quickly with the colour coding rather than peering over a chart. The other book that I use, so that's actually for the actual design of the lace design. And then the other book that I couldn't have got as far as I have. I designed this one, for example. I absolutely couldn't have got as far as I have without Anne Budd and Book of Sweater, the Knitter's Handy Book of Sweater Patterns. And I can't recommend this highly enough. If you want to break away from other people's patterns, choose a pattern of your own, whether it be lace or just plain or colour, but make it into a garment. Actually, the engineering and structure of a garment is a totally different skill. And this enabled me to do that, to learn about decreasing and the different types of shapes, and how to go about making a V-neck or a turtleneck or whatever, particularly arms and sleeves. She's very useful. So this book has, I will show you different sections. It looks incredibly difficult to follow, but if you take your time, it isn't. It's very, very logical. And not only that, but you can find on YouTube guidance episodes from various people about how to, or maybe just one person, how to follow the book. But I didn't really need that. If you take your time, it's all very logical. So she has here drop shoulder sweaters, modified drop shoulder, set-in sleeve, saddle shoulder, raglan, seamless yoke. And you know, that takes you an extremely long way in knitwear design. What she's actually doing is calculating the number of stitches or the number of cast off, etc., etc. And she also gives you a very, very good glossary, and she gives you the actual what do you call them, schematics. I think you would call them schematics with the measurements. And as I say, I couldn't have made this and designed this without her book. I don't think, anyway. The walnut wings. Here's my basket. As you know, I love baskets. And here is my knitting notebook. It's a red moleskin. I could not knit without this. It just keeps me absolutely right. Here we are. Here's all my notes, and I just, when I've stitched, when I've knitted a row, I'll tick it so that I don't lose my way. And that's particularly important with lace knitting, for me anyway. So with this, I am doing the left sleeve, the right sleeve, the front and the back. I did start the front before I started the back, so I'm further on with the front than the back. But I'm knitting one row. I'm on row, I'll be on row 22 next. And so I do a row 22 in each of the sleeves, and then in the front and then in the back, and tick it all off. And that just means I'm not making a mistake by repeating a row. In this basket here, I have the front and the back. My lovely wicker basket that I got from my charity outlet for £4. I just love it. But of course, we all love a bargain. And here we are with my Frisian Whitework, though I'm doing it in cream, aren't I? There you are. This is what it's going to look like. I'm so excited about that. Anyway, it's bats, isn't it? So here we are. Here's my front, and that's as far as I've got with my front. And of course, each of the little design sections are repeated five times across. And then the back I had started before, so I've got quite far with the back. And it will be up to Anne Budd to show me just how many rows I'm going to need to stitch for getting to the armholes and coming up. It's actually going to be a very, very straightforward design because it's quite tricky to be decreasing if you're using a lace pattern. And I'm using, which is the reason I went for this, I was in what was I in? Was I in? Wasn't Hobbycraft. Anyway, a shop up in just outside Edinburgh as you come round, and it was a garden centre, Dobby's Garden Centre. That's right. I was in there and I didn't choose anything for the garden because I saw Mod by Rowan, and it was just quite a small selection, beautifully laid out shelves, and I went, oh, I have to have that. And of course, once you've bought it, you have to you have to be knitting it. It's alpaca wool and Everyday Luxury it's called, and it is 50% alpaca and 50% wool, which is reasonably warm. It's not quite, alpaca is not as warm as Shetland wool, but it's just got, it is lovely and soft, and it's got a nice spring to it as well. And because it's alpaca, it's not woolly. I do love Shetland wool, but I'm not knitting on it at the minute at all. So that's my wool. I'm using Rowan 450 in the wooden needles. That's my back and my front, and these are the sleeves, and this is how far I've got with the sleeves. And so I'm working on that. This is my elephant basket that was being sold in a little stall. It's elephant grass from Kenya, and so that was a real shopping day, wasn't it? By the time I bought all this wool and then bought a basket to go with it. I do find that when I have something new, I need to know that I have something to be keeping it in. Whether it's sampler or a knitted project or embroidery, it's not just the actual materials, it's the receptacle that I'm going to be keeping them in. It's terribly important, because otherwise things get messed up or just lost. And I do enjoy making work bags for my samplers, as people will know. So I think that's I think that is it, isn't it? Oh, just one little thing here, one last thing. One of the outlets I do use is called Wool Warehouse, which is in England, and they are fantastic. Long may they continue. And I do sometimes get supplies from them. This time I have been stitching my Frisian Whitework in cream, and the actual colour of DMC that I'm using for it is 739, and that is in just the 6-strand ordinary embroidery thread. And what I am aiming to do is to crochet round the edges rather than needle lace. Crochet is a great deal faster. I love crochet. So I'll be doing an edging, and so off I went to the Wool Warehouse online, and I bought DMC, and that is the Coton Perle, and which is thicker, but in the same colour, 739. So I aim to be doing the surround in that, little picots and that sort of thing. And of course, Wool Warehouse provide these very, very useful bags. So this will also help for storage and receptacles, this sort of thing. Well, I am thrilled to let you know that I have reached 1,800 subscribers. And that happened this morning. It was slightly frustrating because actually I did peak with 1,800 subscribers just a couple of weeks ago, and then it dropped again and it went right down to 1,700 and what would it be? 94, I think it was. And so I didn't panic, but it is lovely that it's back up again. No rhyme or reason that I can see for that. Perhaps people's summer holidays come in, since this is August. Anyway, thank you so much to all those who have subscribed and haven't unsubscribed. If you haven't subscribed, it really is very helpful to me if you would just take the time to click the subscribe button. That would be lovely. And then just when I'm thinking, oh, I'm completely overwhelmed and what am I doing? I'm completely mad being on this YouTube episode escalator. It's like a moving pavement and I love doing it. But, in between times, I'm thinking, oh, why on earth am I doing this? And I've got so many things and I'm not going to be able to do it next week. And then I'll wake up the next morning and there will be an absolutely gorgeous comment. And I'm thinking, oh yes, of course I am doing it. People are enjoying it. And so I am contributing in some way to the world for people's inspiration and joy, hopefully. And so that's why I'm back on this week. And I hope that will continue. And apart from that, I just love doing it, and I suppose it is a motivation to keep going with so many different things. So there we are. Here we are in August. If you're watching, you could be watching, of course, in the future at other dates. So we mustn't be too plugged into dates, must we? But wherever you are, whatever date or time or place you're in, I hope that this episode has inspired you. I hope it's been helpful. It's maybe given you food for thought. And happy stitching, happy knitting, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.